One is mail-in voting. There are some states that do exclusively mail-in voting, right? They do all of their voting by mail. They send every registered voter a ballot in the mail, whether they requested it or not. They may have small in-person voting capability, but it's not robust. They predominantly do all their stuff by mail. That is what we refer to in elections administration as mail-in voting. What we have here in Idaho is absentee voting, right? Majority of our voters in Idaho and in Ada County specifically vote in person. 70 to 80% of them vote in person, either early in person or on election day at a precinct. Around 20 to 30% will request an absentee ballot. We have never mailed an absentee ballot to anybody who has not requested it. That's a huge distinction between mail-in voting systems and those that have some sort of absentee ability to do it. Now, some people conflate the idea, right? Sometimes that ballot comes back via the mail, right? But it doesn't have to come back via the mail. You can drop it off at a drop box. You can drop it off in person, all those things, right? They think, well, that's mail-in voting. It's not mail-in voting. It's absentee. We service military members that way. We service senior citizens that way. We service the single mom that's working 3 jobs who can't get to a place to vote in person that way. It is something that Idahoans have traditionally always taken advantage of, right? When they cannot make it to the polls in person to vote. And it's a constitutional right. So that's one big distinction, right?
May I ask a question?
You bet.
So when you say it's a constitutional right, is that an Idaho constitutional right that if an American citizen cannot make it to the actual polling location, that Idaho will supply them with a ballot that they can deliver? Or are you just saying voting in general? That's
a statutory structure, right? Okay. The voting in general is a constitutional right, and we don't want to be denying anybody the ability to vote, regardless of their circumstances, right?
One more.
Yeah.
I mean, to be clear, I understand the argument that it's like, hey, mail-in ballots, this is a bad idea, or ballot harvesting, this is a bad idea.
Sure.
Right. And I could see if you say you're in charge of 100,000 people and you're like, hey man, we're going to automatically send 100,000 people. Yeah. And by the way, we're going to have also in-person voting. So 100,000 voting ballots go out. And then you also have to have ballots, at a physical location. So say I get a ballot delivered to my home, but I'm like, I'm going to go in and vote.
Yeah.
Right. And I throw that ballot, let's say, in the trash.
Yep.
Okay. And then I roll in to vote and I vote in person and they're like, okay, here's your ballot. So now there are 2 ballots with Matt Todd, right? Like one got mailed to me and I threw it in my trash. One, I went and physically filled it out. Well, somebody could jump in my trash and be like, here's the ballot. Haha. And now all of a sudden 2 Matt Todd votes go out. I understand the criticism for that 100%.
Sure.
We do not have that. And when, let's say I request an absentee ballot, but I go in and I'm like, I'm going to do this anyway. So first off, you know how many absentee ballots went out. So when I throw away that absentee ballot, if somebody's like, I got a ballot, and they go and make 100 copies of it or 1,000 copies of it, you guys know to the piece of paper how many absentee ballots went out. So if you sent out, let's say 10,000 absentee ballots and you get 11,000 absentee votes, you know instantaneously, you're like, this is impossible. There's no way that we have this. You also, before you even open the envelope that is delivered back to your voting area, before you open it up to even see what you verify signatures of that person. So Matt has a signature on my driver's license. I have a signature on, when I register to vote. I have signature, all kinds of digital signatures that you guys have access to. So if somebody grabs that ballot out of the trash and like, I know, I'm gonna vote this way, and they vote it all out, put it down, slap some dumb signature on, it comes back in. Not only do you know, hey, Matt voted in person, and then we got this envelope in here, right? Before you even open the envelope, you're like, there's no way that's Matt's signature. That doesn't match the other 4 signatures we have.
Right.
So you have in Ada County right now an incredibly robust checks and balance system that's like, hey man, if you could squeak one past the goalie, that's going to be pretty wild because we have all of these things you'd have to check.
Yes.
Great.
The other thing that's part of that is the accuracy of the voter roll, right? We in the state of Idaho do a really good job of monitoring that voter registration roll and removing people that should not be on it. I can tell you other jurisdictions don't do that great of job on maintaining that voter roll. So in an instance, for instance, if you had a mail-in voting system, right, and you mailed it to all of these registered voters, a large percentage of who don't live currently at their addresses because they've either moved, they've passed away, the statutory requirement. Yep. Now all of a sudden you have all these ballots out there that don't belong to a person because the person's not there, right? That's really the biggest problem that I have with mail-in voting, right? But in Idaho, I don't send you a ballot unless you physically request it, right? And so that's how one way we minimize that risk. And then maintaining the voter roll too, is so that we know that everyone on the voter roll is an actual person that's living here, that has residency, that's proven all those things, that's positively identified themselves, so I know who I'm sending this to, right?
And to be clear on this one, I have a neighbor, former neighbor, who was actually telling me that he was like, this was a couple of years ago. He's like, I don't like, elections are really rough. Yeah. Like, what do you mean, man? And he had an experience where his wife had gone to a college in a different state, and the ballot continued to get sent to that apartment. Now these people are in the late 40s, right? And they looked it up recently, and somebody had taken that ballot and voted in that state for her. And they had let that election individual know several times, like, I don't live here anymore, like, take me off. And they continued to send out ballot. That's not happening here. So two things have to happen. One, you have to be an up-to-date registered voter in the state of Idaho in order to request a ballot. And then only when you request the ballot and you're verified as a registered valid voter does a ballot get sent out. So those are the two things. It's like, at no point is somebody 20 years later who lived at like a BSU apartment still getting a ballot, because you don't even send that out unless the person's like, hey, Trent, can I get one? And you're like, who are you? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.